Hi, I'm Andrew Collins. Today we're going to be talking about Spina Bifida. I'm going to talk about what it is, some of the things that come along with it, a couple of stories I'm going to tell you, what we can do in PE to kind of accommodate those people, and hopefully bring a little awareness to the subject. Alright, Spina Bifida. So, what is Spina Bifida? It is a birth defect that develops the spinal cord of baby in utero. Essentially, there are three different types, three of the main different types. So we have spina bifida occulta, which is the mildest type. It's sometimes called the hidden spina bifida. With it, there is a small gap in the spine, but there's no opening or sac that protrudes through. The spinal cord and the nerves are usually normal. Occulta is not discovered until late childhood or adulthood because of how it is that it doesn't have that protrusion. And it typically doesn't cause disability. Now, forgive my pronunciation of these next two. Meningocele, cele, is there's a sac that comes through the back that holds the spinal cord in it. There are usually little to no nerve damage with this one, but can cause minor disabilities. The last one, myelomeningocele, is the harshest type. This is the one that people typically are referring to when they talk about spina bifida. This is what they typically talk about. It's the most serious type. With this one, the sac that comes through the opening of the back, part of the spinal cord and the nerves are in the sac, and they do have damage. It causes moderate to severe disabilities, like affecting how you walk or go to the bathroom, or paralysis in legs and feet, or total paralysis of like the legs, so not being able to move at all. So how is it treated? Typically, within 24 hours after birth, you're going to get into surgery to kind of prevent infection and things of that nature. Aside from surgery, it would be more medication and physical therapy. So conditions that come along with spina bifida, you're going to have the reduced mobility, paralysis in 1, 2, 3, maybe all 4 limbs. Because of the lack of mobility, obesity is often an issue because they can't get and move around as others can. Bladder and gastrointestinal disorders, often going to have marks on the skin or tufts of hair on the back, like where that sac would be. Tendinitis, social issues, sexual issues. I got no heading. So they may need to use crutches, braces, or a wheelchair. These are our facts and stats here. So 1,500 babies a year are born with spina bifida. Hispanics rate is the highest in America. Non-Hispanic whites are just below them with 3.9 per 10,000, and non-Hispanic blacks are the lowest with 2.73. So I was reading an article. The first year can range from $21,000 to $1.3 million in first year costs. I mean, that is just an astronomical gap. But spina bifida does not have to be a death sentence. There are a lot of people that go on to lead normal or semi-normal lives, like Hank Williams Sr., the father to Hank Williams Jr., who is probably more known, at least now. John Cougar Mellencamp, another big musician. And then Jane Driscoll. She is a world-renowned athlete and motivational speaker. She has won the women's wheelchair division of the Boston Marathon 8 times, which is more than any other female athlete in any division. So even in the typical division, she's won more than anyone else has. So I just show you that this doesn't have to be the end-all be-all to your life. So I've got a couple stories here. We're going to talk about Brendan, we're going to talk about Shane, and then you're going to figure out what Ashley has done on your own. So Brendan was born to a typical family. Upon birth, was diagnosed with spina bifida. The family had connections and friends that was a physical therapist. They took him to her. She explained that his muscle tone was so low that he could barely lift his eyelids. You know, the parents came in with all the questions: would he ever be able to walk and feed himself, or any of these typical children things? But you don't want to go into that and lie to people about expectations. So she told him the truth, that she doesn't know where it was going to go. And so she started a 3-year regimen with Brendan, going through surgeries, through braces, orthotics, new orthotics. His mother quit his job to take care of him full time. The father went back to college to get a better job to support the family's needs. His grandparents taught him how to climb steps at their house. And for his physical therapy, they would take him to the park or to the pool, or to do things like horseback riding, while trying to keep the determination of the kid up, trying to keep his spirits up, keep him going. The physical therapist told the mother that if you expect him to move and to do things, that he would do it. And so 3 years later, Brendan did it. So he's 3 years old, he can walk, he can run with his walker, he's learning to use forearm crutches, he can feed himself, he can do chores, he's starting to potty train, starting to see that normalcy of life. So this story is really it's all about expectation. So it's not always about taking what you get and just sitting there with it. Sometimes you got to push a little bit to try to get there. My next story here is about Shane. Similar story. Shane was born with spina bifida. Parents were, as they say, devastated. But they were determined to give him as normal childhood as possible. So Shane was paralyzed from the hip down, needed constant surgeries. But the parents quickly found out there was one thing that they could take control of, which was trying to keep him fit. Because, as we mentioned earlier, obesity is one of the things that affects people with spina bifida. So, trying to keep him active. So to keep him active, the parents themselves had to become active, because before he came along, they were not. They were out of shape, junk food junkies, as they say. So they started to eat healthier. They started to take Shane with walks in the stroller. And eventually, they started to train for a triathlon. So the mother would take him out in the stroller and run with him in the jogging stroller, and then bike with him with a bike trailer, and then set him on the shore while he watched her swim. And then after she was done with her workouts, they would do his workouts. So he would take and race around the block in his wheelchair, and then come back and hand pedal his tricycle, and then try to do laps in the swimming pool. While over the summer he learned to swim without assistance with floaters on his legs. So using all upper body, just having those legs suspended with those floaters. Overall, they lost 30 pounds. The mother lost 30 pounds. Father lost 15 pounds. And in their first triathlon, they didn't win, but the winner of the triathlon gave Shane her medal. So they gave him something to shoot for. All right, so in PE, what we got to do is we got to try to include them in as many activities as possible. If you have to modify rules or take out certain aspects of the game to get them active, albeit try to do those things to get those kids involved. Because we saw earlier, their social skills are not the greatest, and they do struggle with obesity because of the lack of motor movement. We need to be aware of their abilities and their limitations. So if you know that maybe they can't use their legs, so there's your limitation. So just try maybe to do upper body things, get them moving, get them motivated, get them going. Okay, plan for their needs. You got to know what they need to do, what they like to do. It's going to be a lot easier to get them moving and going. Make sure the activities are appropriate, especially for ages. You don't want, second graders trying to play volleyball or something that they're not attuned to do just yet. Okay, allow opportunities for self-learning and experimentation. So you want to let them try to do some things on their own. Try to learn how to do a new thing, or experiment with kicking a ball or rolling a ball or throwing a ball or something along those lines. As I said earlier, change the rules as necessary. In the classrooms, at times they could cause distractions because if they're in a chair or if they're in like a walker, they might not be able to move as quickly, so you might have some issues with distractions. And then earlier we said they have bowel and gastrointestinal issues, so that could always happen. Maybe they make a mess, trying to make a big deal out of it. Obviously, don't let other kids make a big deal out of it. Just try to be sensitive to what they're kind of going through. And so I forgot back here. Activity 1, my apologies. So I want you to go and learn about Ashley. So you're going to take this link. It's a real short story, just a little blurb in a magazine. So I want you to write me just a short paragraph of what you learned from her and how she has helped this community with physical education. All right, and now last activity. So you're going to take this quiz real quick, and then that's all I got for you. So I hope you learned something.